Book 101 is about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a tradesman, a transform, CEO and leads, none other than Mr. Aaron Ayotte.
Hey, right on. You got it. Thank you very much
Welcome.
for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, welcome, Mr. Aaron, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, no sweat. My name's Aaron Ayotte, and I've been a serial entrepreneur for the past 15 years. And I work directly with heating, cooling, plumbing, electrician contractors, helping them grow their business, get the help they need, and keep more of their profits in a nutshell. And it's these people, these blue collar workers. They're just a great group of people. I love working with them.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Aaron. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And today, let's talk about scaling your trade business without hiring a single new tech. So, tell us, let's start with the core premise. Scaling without a new tech means shifting from a technician to a CEO mindset. What was first CEO style system you had to build that freed you from being indispensable in this field?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and when you think about the evolution, it's really about changing the mindset and the approach of going to business as a contractor. When you start out as a contractor, you think about the evolution of 99% of those business owners. They start in their 20s and their teens working in the trade. They learn the skill set, whether it be HVC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, whatever. And they realize after a few years they're really good at it. And after a while, they get tired of seeing the big fat invoices that the boss is making. And a lot of them are like, man, I'm good at this. I'm going to break out and start my own business. So they leave the company they're working for and they start their own HVAC or plumbing or electrical company. And their skill set carries them in the beginning. And when they first start out, the whole goal is do a great job, get your name out there, get referrals and repeat business and grow from that standpoint. Most of them are bootstrapping. They're not spending money on advertising. They're not, because they don't have it. Everything is about just make sure you've got enough to cover your overhead, feed your family, and move on. And then, maybe a year in, 6 months in, depending on the timing in the market, they'll bring on a helper or a friend or someone they worked with in the past to work with them in their business. And they start growing kind of organically, all based on this word of mouth and referral. And I'd say every single client I've ever worked with, a big book of their business is word of mouth and referral. But the trap lies in from the standpoint of the geography that creates. You get a customer that's 5, 6 miles away, great customer, you help them, you install a new system, you help them with plumbing leaks, whatever the situation, and they love you. And they're like, man, you did a great job. My cousin just moved into town. Like I'm in Georgetown near Austin, Texas. So let's say, for example, someone in my town recommended their brother or sister in law and they happen to live in Buda. Well, if you don't know the map, Buda is probably an hour and a half drive south through just tons of traffic. It's not that far from a mileage standpoint, but it's a lot of traffic. But the contractor, really loving that customer and appreciating the fact that they gave them a referral, were like, yeah, I'd love to take care of your brother-in-law or whatever. And they, over time, these referrals are basically creating their geography for them. And when I talk to these contractors, the vast majority, when I ask them how much area do you cover, they're very proud of the fact, like, oh, we'll go 40 miles this way, we'll go 50. We cover all of Dallas, we cover all of whatever. And it's almost a badge of honor that they've worked that hard in the business for so many years, and people know them all over the place, and they carry that as a place of respect, if you will. And it's awesome. But what they don't realize, and the shift occurs from the mindset of being a tech and chasing those referrals to the CEO portion of saying, okay, is this really smart for my business? How many hours do I pay in labor dollars in a year for my guys to sit behind a windshield? How many dollars am I spending on new tires, oil changes, brakes, wear and tear on vehicles because of the sheer miles and distance that they're driving? Not to mention, when I have a schedule and I'm getting referrals that are in these places that are far away, then how many jobs can I actually do in a day or a week or a month? And that leads them to this pressure of, I need more help. I need more help. I'm so busy. The board is full. They're driving all over the place. They think that growing means they have to fill in the gaps. So they're the ones working later at night. They're the ones helping on the weekends to kind of kick this thing off. Or if they have people that don't show up, they're always the ones plugging the holes in the bucket. And it just continues and continues and continues instead of thinking, wait a second, what if I put some really smart marketing in place and I focus on 8 to 10, 12 miles from my location and I go extract as many leads as I can out of that area, all the while still getting referrals. But what happens is it changes the complete dynamic of the company to where now referrals that are outside of this circle, if you will, become optional. And as long as they have the right marketing in place and leads are consistently coming in, now what happens is John, the technician, who could normally go do, one repair a week, I'm sorry, one repair per day for the week because of the distance he's driving. Now he can do 3 repairs a day or 4 repairs a day because they're all closer together. The windshield time is less, all the fuel costs and fleet costs are exponentially decreased. So you have a situation where the marketing actually fixes some of this issue around, I don't have enough help, I'm so busy. You can actually become busier and use the same number of people on staff to double and sometimes triple. I have a client of mine that years ago, we tested this out because I've been doing this for quite a while, and he actually tripled his business in 2 years and didn't hire a single additional technician. Now, granted, he wasn't a one-man company or a two-man company. He had about 8 guys working for him, but he was doing about 1.2 million at that time, and within 3 years was doing over 3 million and didn't hire any new crew because they didn't drive as far and they could do more jobs in a week than what they were doing in the past. And all the extra savings from the fleet costs that were being spent driving all over the place, that extra expense went right to the bottom line in profit. So not only was he adding sales and adding jobs, which is increasing his profitability, but the huge reduction in fleet expenses caused an enormous spike in his profitability. So and it works over and over and over and over and over again. But most contractors they don't look at marketing that way. They look at marketing as an expense and something that they need to go spend money on. And they don't want to spend money on it because I have referrals and I cover this whole area and I'm king of the land. And it just takes a minute to get them to shift their mindset and act more like a CEO instead of a technician. And that's the concept, and it works fantastic.
Fantastic indeed, Mr. Aaron. Many owners fear that systematizing their secret sauce will make replaceable. How do you overcome that fear, and what was the first process you documented?
What do you mean systematize can you ask that again?
Yes. How would you systematize the business itself by not hiring someone else that would do it by yourself?
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, so each situation is going to be unique in and of itself, right? If you have a two-man company or two-person company and you're trying to scale, obviously you have to do that in steps. You can't just go put a bunch of marketing out there and get the phone ringing off the hook when there's 2 people in the business. But conversely, if you have a company that's 5, 6, 8, 10 people, it's a little easier to double the volume for that team as long as they're not driving as far. So it starts with marketing. It starts with understanding human behavior. When you think about the customer, the homeowner that has a situation in their house, whether it's a no heat, a no air conditioning, plumbing leak, a broken pipe, whatever the case may be, the first place they go to look for help is Google. And now it might be even ChatGPT and some AI sources. But at the end of the day, that's what they do. They don't go knock on a neighbor's door. They don't scroll for Facebook ads. They don't hop in their car and look for a billboard or turn on the radio or the television. They literally go to Google and type in a search. So if they can maximize their marketing and systemize their marketing so that it works really well where the customer is every time, then that's the best place to get the lowest cost per lead. I teach it as a 3-legged stool, right? You have to have the right
Mhm.
message in the right place at the right time. What good is a billboard for a hamburger stand if someone's a vegetarian? None. Wrong message, right? What
Mhm.
good is a hamburger stand billboard at 6 in the morning? None. It's breakfast time. I don't want a burger. Wrong timing. So the only place someone ever becomes a lead is when all three of those legs of that stool are in alignment. And the only place that all three of those legs exist is through an online search, because the right message is there. That's the website. The right place, because you're going to show up in the market you serve. And the customer brings the timing. They don't go on to Google and type in AC repair company near me, fix a broken pipe, a plumbing company near me, because they're bored on Wednesday. They have a need and they need to fill that need, and they need to fill it quickly. So they go to Google first. So when we start there, that's where we systemize everything, is through the digital marketing piece, and we extract as many leads as possible out of that small market area. That enables that company, regardless of the size, to be more efficient. And then from there, ramp up more and more marketing, bringing in more staff in order to scale that company, whether at whatever pace they want. It's going to be unique to every individual owner. Some of them want to grow, be 10, $20 million companies and sell out, for the big payday. And others are happy where they're at, taking the month of October off to go elk hunting or deer hunting or whatever. And that's fine. Whatever, whatever they want their company to be, they should be able to do that.
Mr. Aaron, can you describe your perfect day as the owner of the skilled trade business when you're not on the tools? What are you actually doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the perfect day for a CEO of a trade company is you have managers in place, right? Or a manager in place that handles the, let's call it the HV service or install, depending how big the company is. And you become the overseer, you become the decision maker. You have people in place that are handling the day to day operations, the fires that come up, the problems with customers. You have people or AI assistants that that take care of scheduling for you. You've put systems in place throughout the company that has basically removed you from the fireman, from having to put out every fire that comes up in the day. So you can be the person, the visionary, to really assess all these main levers that are driving the business, marketing being a big one, right? Hiring being a big one. What are the processes? What are the retention models that you have in place in the company? How does someone get onboarded in the business? All those things are the CEO chair's decision to make, not, hey, should I run over to this house and do a quote on a new system? That should be someone else's job. But it's relative to the size of the business. You can't start day one in that situation. You start day one, you are doing everything. But what tends to happen is a lot of these guys, contractors, they are comfortable in that technician space. They're comfortable knowing everything that they know about the trade, and they're uncomfortable stepping into that new identity of a CEO because it's an unknown. No one's ever taught them how to be a CEO. No one's ever taught them how to think like a business owner. They wake up every day and they think like a technician that's just really busy and has a lot of responsibility and a lot of stress, and they just not sure how to move and get to the next place.
Where is the biggest single point of waste or leakage in a typical trade business that it plans instantly creates more capacity without a new hire, Mr. Aaron?
The first part of that was, where's the biggest leaks in the business?
Yes, please.
I honestly believe it's in the fleet costs. I've created a calculator that I actually use in my coaching that we use when we're talking about a contractor's particular service area. And I've shown mathematically that if you take a four truck company, let's say, and they have four trucks on the road and they're servicing 40 miles, and we change that service area to 20 miles, let's say, because we've implemented some really good marketing and they've stopped chasing all those referrals everywhere, that their annual savings in fleet costs is $63,000 and some change. Now, I don't know about you, but $63,000 is real money. And I can use that for marketing. I can use that to hire another person. I can use that for better health insurance. I can use that for a better building. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to reinvest $63,000 in the business. And that's just that one example. If you have more trucks, I've done the calculation with 10 trucks, 15 trucks, 20 trucks, and it just exponentially grows because of the amount of mileage and wasted windshield time and labor. And that 63,000 doesn't even count any new sales generated by working smarter in a smaller area. It doesn't count that repair tech that got the 2 additional jobs per day. It doesn't count the install crew that put in 2 more systems this week because they had the time to get on the calendar. It doesn't count any of that. It's just a calculation based on fleet savings. So for me, the biggest hole in the bucket is without a doubt the fleet expenses, and part of that in there is the labor time for a technician sitting behind a windshield just driving to the next job.
Interesting, Mr. Aaron. Leveraging technology and automation. Beyond
Hmm.
scheduling software, what is one piece of technology that give you and your existing team the most significant boost in productive capacity?
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question. There's a ton of technology resources out there, a ton of tools. It depends on what part of the business you need help with. I mean, there's a lot of AI agents that have come out recently that catch the overflow of incoming phone calls from, customer service reps that answer the phone or take the place of customer service reps completely. A lot of contractors will hand out their personal cell phone number in the beginning when they build the business, and they continue to hand it out. And as they get bigger, that becomes problematic because they're home with the kids, they're out on vacation, their phone rings, and that's really not the best use of their time when they have people that are supposed to catch that slack for them when they're not there. So AI agents are coming in fast and hot. I'm not. I've seen a bunch of them. I've tested several, and I haven't found one that's really over the top awesome yet. They do a good basic job, but you can still stump them. It really comes down to the person that's created the prompts and the programming to make sure that it directs the AI properly what to do in certain scenarios. And you can definitely find, some holes in the bucket, if you will, in some of the programming. So AI, I think, is a big one when it comes to answering the phone and scheduling. Another one on the operational side would be, products like Field Edge, Field Pulse, Service Titan, things that softwares that control or track a lead from the minute they hit the business and become a conversation to moving to a quote, to a repair job, to an install, to follow up, to invoicing, to asking for reviews, all of it. It takes it all the way to the end. So you can use reports to say, okay, what's my average cost per, or, retail per customer? Like what's my average sale dollars per customer in the course of a year? What was it last year? Are we growing? Are we not? And then and then you have to look at pricing. Has pricing increased and kind of inflated those numbers? Or are you looking at really apples to apples? So those types of softwares operationally, Service Titan is definitely the biggest in the industry. I know a lot of companies that use Service Titan, but in order for that to be a really effective software for you, you have to have a significant amount of leads coming in the front door. I've seen plenty of contractors put Service Titan in place, and they don't have a lot of leads coming in, and it's really just a money burn at that point. But for those that have a lot of leads, Service Titan's a very good piece of software. So is Field Edge, so is Field Pulse. There's a lot of them out there. It really comes down to meeting with those representatives, getting the demos, doing the webinars, asking the questions, see what fits with your operation and what you have going on and where you want to take it, and then making the best choice for your company.
Interesting, Mr. Aaron. As a tradesman transform, CEO unleash, what are your short term and long term goals?
What? I'm sorry.
What are your short term and long term goals?
Me personally,
Yes, please. As a
well,
businessman.
yeah, for me in the coaching space, I work with a lot of distributors. I work with a lot of territory managers, and I have a lot of relationships that span the entire United States when it comes to heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical. And I love working with those guys. They bring me contractors all the time, introduce me to them to help them with their marketing and understanding their radius model and helping them save money and all that sort of thing. But for my private coaching, I only take, a half a dozen clients a year because I like to go deep, build a really rock solid relationship with them. So for me, like 2026, my goal is just continue to maintain that half a dozen or so clients. It's a pretty exclusive group. It's an application process, um, and we've got to make sure we're a fit. And I think it's more not so much an application for the contract. There is an application for the contractor, but the conversation that we have is really a truth conversation, trying to figure out what's the biggest problems that they have and making sure that I can fix those problems, because it's not about here's the coaching plan and here's what you get month 1, month 2, month 3. I don't do any of that. It is about transformation. It's like, where are you now? What are the problems you have? Where do you want to go? And can I be the one to help you fix that? And I'm gonna be very honest. Sometimes I have those conversations and say, no, I'm not your guy. Whether it's a miss doesn't fit based on personality or motivation. Maybe I get a vibe from the contractor that they like to blame all the outside forces for the plight that they're in. Don't take ownership. And other times it's they have problems that I don't work on, so we just don't work together. But for the ones that fit, it's an amazing relationship because we go deep, we meet often. I'm fully accessible to them, and I help them get from point A to point B, at their speed, fully customized. And it's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun indeed. So good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success, Mr. Aaron. And
Yeah, thank you very much.
what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
You know, I don't want anybody to be like me. I want everybody to be themselves. But at the same time, I know it's kind of cliche, but I did a post on Instagram about trust today. And there seems to be a lot of distrust in the industry as a whole, from coaching to webinars. And people have been burned so many times by different marketing agencies, by empty promises that don't come to fruition. And usually when that happens, they blame themselves like, "Oh, I invested in this thing and it didn't work," or "I bought that guy's thing and it didn't work." And there's reasons for that. You have to dive deep and try and figure out why it actually didn't work. Did they not do the work, or did they just, buy the thing and put it on the shelf and not do it? Or do they actually do it like 100% and it just really didn't work? Or did the person they bought it from sell them a bill of goods and it wasn't at all what they represented it to be? Whatever the scenario, it doesn't matter. It usually comes back to them thinking that, well, hey, I don't trust myself to make those decisions anymore. And that is a technician's mindset. And I challenge anyone to kind of think outside the box and think more like a CEO. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make bad choices. Things going to happen in business, but trust yourself. Trust yourself to continue to make decisions. Trust yourself to dig in further and really go with your gut. I tell people all the time, you always make the right decision in the moment. It only takes time and a rearview mirror to tell you whether or not it was a good decision or not, right? I mean, we all do it. We all make the right decision in the moment for what's going on in that circumstance. And we think it's the right thing and we do it. And then it only takes time to figure out, did it work? Was it the right move or was it not? And we all learn that way. So don't be so hard on yourself. Trust yourself to make decisions going forward, to trust others and do some digging and make sure it's a fit um, if you're looking for help in your business.
Well, thank you for that advice, Mr. Aaron. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence you, Johnny?
Oh yeah, sure. One that comes off the top of my head, I did a post about this one too, is Tim Ferriss's 4 Hour Work Week. It's a really good one, and yeah, off the top. But I have a whole bookcase behind me. You can see probably, I don't know, 3 dozen books up there, um, all business books. I don't read for pleasure. I read to learn something. But off the top of my head, 4 Hour Work Week would be one of them.
And thank you for the recommended book, Mr. Aaron. What is the common task that field tech typically hate doing that you were able to completely remove from their plate by centralizing and automating it?
You know, I think from tech to tech, that's going to be a different answer, right? Not everybody doesn't like the same things. But I would say that um, over the years, I would say estimating, using tools to help automate the estimating process, the sales process with the customer would probably be high on the list. Because a lot of times contractors don't really have an estimating process. They have one in their brain, but they don't have one that really communicates well, communicates the value to the customer. And we put that automation in place with recommended tools, and that seems to help a lot. So, but then there's guys that really love the estimating process. So that's going to be different, for each person. But I would say as a whole, just kind of looking back at all my relationships, that one's probably at the top of the list.
Okay, Mr. Aaron, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my Abstract Essay is already in fifth season. Abstract Poetry in second season. I'm a Book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 second season. I'm a Food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101, Love Letters, Movie 101, Music 101, our fourth season. Science 101, Sex 101 second season. I'm a Baby Podcast. Law 101, Mental Health 101, Bible Verses 101, and it's coming December Entrepreneur 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So finally, Mr. Aaron, what is one metric on your dashboard that tells you more than any other that you're successfully scaling the business, not just working in the business?
Without a doubt, cash flow and profitability. It's not about how much you make; it's how much you keep, and being able to accurately measure profits. And I teach this whole concept around your dad's accounting system is what's keeping you broke. So I have a whole different system that I teach contractors how to do that allows them to truly know 24/7, 365 exactly how profitable their business is and knowing how much they're generating so they know exactly how much they can quote unquote live on or the expense side of things, what they need to run the business. So without a doubt, profitability and how much they get to keep.
Indeed, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr.
Absolutely.
Aaron. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, or whatever projects that they're doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Best way to find me is on Instagram, tech2ceo, TECHTOCEO. A lot of people reach out to me there. And I do a live webinar a few times a month. Sometimes I do it twice, sometimes I do it every Thursday. But it's tech2ceo.net/live. It's a free webinar. I teach my core strategy principles there, and I give you way more value than I probably should. You can just take them with you and improve your business. And then I do make an offer in that webinar to work with me for some people that think it's a fit, and that's where we start the interview process. So feel free to join me on that webinar on Thursdays. Just go to that tech2ceo.net/live and register. It's totally free.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Aaron Ayotte because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy to rise. So, Mr. Aaron, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate the invite. Take care.
Modicam people, see you soon.